Hey, what's going on, everybody? And we are here on another episode of Film Fights with Friends podcast. I'm your host, Paul Veracci.
And Steven Kepfer. Yeah, and we're here, man. This is episode... Dude, we are close to the end of the season.
We are. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I can't even say again. We're done. We're basically done, man.
Close. We got two more.
Two more episodes.
2 more after this one. We're killing it.
26 episode first season. That's pretty good, man.
Yeah, totally. You want to do this again? Do you want to do it again?
Oh, I thought you meant the intro.
No, I think we're doing okay.
I was like, did I fuck up the intro?
Do you want to do this again, though? Do you want to do another season?
Yeah. I do, definitely.
Cool.
I definitely want to do another season.
We have to figure out something good for the finale, though.
Yeah.
We got one episode to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That'd be cool.
So who's on the show today, man?
Today we have Kristen Murphy. Yeah. Kristen Murphy, I hate to say it, but she's our little buddy.
Dude, I love
Kristen. She's great.
Yeah.
If you could put wings on her, she would be like Tinkerbell. I mean,
she can fly like Tinkerbell already.
She can in the air.
She
can move like that for sure.
Hell yeah. But she doubled Taryn Manning on Bloodline Killers.
Taryn Manning is from Orange is the New Black.
Yes.
Would be her big.
That's what most people would know
big role. Most people know her from.
Yeah, sure. So this is a really classic B-movie slasher horror film.
Tyrese Gibson is in it as well.
Yep, Tyrese. Bruce Dern.
Wow.
How the hell do you get Bruce Dern in this movie?
Right?
Wow. I saw Bruce Dern. I was like, what? Bruce Dern is in this?
Yeah.
That was a surprise. That was cool.
There's a lot of surprises in this movie.
Yeah, but she did some really cool fight scenes in this, and we're going to break them down.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
and also just bringing Kristen on the show. She's so fun to talk to.
Yeah, she's cool.
And she's going to have some great insight because she's coming into the industry from an area that we haven't had anybody on the show that does a lot of dance and gymnastics and
hip hop
and all that stuff.
The Knicks, dude.
So yeah,
she's like the legit dancer.
So I think that
she's not like I'm going to get a move good enough to put on Instagram dancer.
No.
I mean, she's like
she's a professional.
Yeah. She's legit.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool girl.
Unique with a unique perspective.
Yeah, for
sure. So this is gonna be great.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. So, what you been up to, dude?
What have I been up to, man? Outside of fuck,
I don't know.
You
want me to tell you what you've been up to?
Yeah, please tell me what I've been doing.
You've been up to going to see a movie screening with me.
That's right. We went and saw Dirty Rotten Scoundrels at the
Museum of Moving Image. They're doing a retrospective of Frank Oz movies.
And then afterwards, we got to stay for a Q&A with Steve Martin and Frank Oz, which was pretty amazing.
Freaking awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is one of my favorite movies ever. I probably watch that movie at least once, twice a month.
Yeah, totally.
It's just, what am I going to watch? There's nothing on Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
I'll listen to those two talk about their careers.
Such amazing stories. Such amazing stories. And you feel like everything that they said was just like,
it was awesome.
From a legendary.
Yeah.
It's
and
amazing.
Hysterical.
Yeah.
Like this, when the little girl in the audience during Q&A
Are you the greatest comedian ever?
Are you the funniest man alive? To Steve Martin. He's like, yes.
Yes, I am.
But don't tell. But he goes, keep that in here.
Don't tell anybody else.
And we're going to see Empire Strikes Back tomorrow.
I know. I can't wait.
Which everybody knows Frank Oz was Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. It's going to be good. I can't wait.
That's going to be fun.
And then what else have we done? We worked, I coordinated a student film that you came and worked with me on.
I did. That's right.
Yeah. We rigged up and dropped a disco ball on someone's head. Yeah.
And they had to jump out of the way.
Yeah. We did a couple of falls and fight scenes and stuff. Really fun. School of Visual Arts has a really good film program.
Yeah.
Shout out to SVA.
That was a very professional set.
Yeah.
I was impressed working on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Really talented young people. Really motivated. I love working on the student films because they're so, they're not jaded yet.
Right.
They're so in touch with their creativity and wanting to tell a good story. And it still has that indie film feel to it. Mm-hmm. I love working with them, I mean, the flip side is they all think this is the best film that they've ever made and it will ever be. It's like their magnum opus or whatever. But, but in general, I love working with the students.
And when everything that they're shooting is, like Fellini's 8.5.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man.
No, but I mean, technically it is the best thing they've ever done because it's the most recent thing they've ever done. Right. So, but it's cool. I like working with SVA people, and the SVA program seems to be more in touch with safety concerns than some of the other university programs. So I appreciate that about them.
And then, you know, that kind of leads up into our mailbag question a little bit.
Yes, we do have a mailbag question from, by the way, another podcast host. He does a podcast. His name's Brian Doucette. He does a podcast called Everyday Martial Artist. Great podcast. You guys should check it out. But he actually reached out with a question. His son, well, let's just read the exact question. I won't paraphrase. He said, my son, who is going to college for acting, wants to get back into martial arts. Interject a few years to Taekwondo when he was younger. What are some of the best styles that could be beneficial for his acting career?
I mean, that is a good question, first of all.
Yeah. Some of the things I asked him was, well, what kind of act does he want to be? A screen actor? Does he want to be a stage actor? You know, does he want to be an action actor? Like a lot of the goals depend, you know, like a lot of the answer would depend on what his goals as an actor are. But generally, I suggested, and I'm curious to hear your opinion, because I already told him my answer, but so I want to hear what your answer is. But I suggested that most actors, unless they become like action actors, most actors aren't going to have to do more than throw some punches, do some falls, you know. And I was like boxing and judo. Like get your falls in, get your basic throws in, get your really good body mechanics for your hand striking. You don't see like on the average, you know, character actor on a TV show isn't doing like acrobatic flippy stuff. So just get a foundation in something that you can build upon. And I think that for me, for an actor wanting to learn some skills, judo, boxing is a great combo. And then I suggested parkour. I said, listen, it's not a martial art, but actors are doing way more chase scenes than they are fight scenes. And to have some good parkour in your back pocket would probably be.
I agree with that. Helpful. I mean, having good body awareness and being able to get out of your own fucking way is a pretty huge thing for actors to be able to do.
Yeah, totally, man.
I mean, majority of the biggest issues of working with an actor that makes it tough is they can't get out of their own way.
Yep. So if you're going to be a stage actor, right, you don't have to work as hard in selling something to make it look real.
Right, because you're basically all selling it from one side.
One side and super safe all the time because you have to do it like twice a day, 7 days a week.
Maybe even more.
Yeah. And the audience doesn't really expect reality. But when audiences are watching a movie or TV show, they expect something that looks really real. And, you know, so it's a different level of expertise involved. And also, like, you're not playing to the nosebleed seats. Like, if you're doing theater, you got to do big, grandiose movements that the people all the way up in the bleacher seats can understand.
It doesn't matter if it sells. They need to know what was happening.
Yeah, I think the expectation of a realistic looking fight scene from the theater audience is not really, it's not on their checklist.
But they need to know someone was punched, and they need to know, you know, someone threw a punch, and they need to know someone got hit. So that just needs to be really big because again, you can be hundreds of feet away. I
mean, ironically, now that we're talking about it, I feel like, and we've talked about this on the show in the past, that you know, we're trying to tell a story, right? Ironically, the theater audiences and the theater performers understand they're telling the story. They're a little more focused on the story than the fight.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas a lot of time, rookie and up and coming screen fight performers are a little more focused on the fight than the story.
Yeah.
So something in the middle is
true.
Where you want to land.
Speaking of being focused on the story and things behind, we have a date change for our
for the film festival.
For the film festival.
Yes. Yes. The Art of Movie Making Film Festival has changed their date to what is it? September 2025. So I know we've been pushing the film festival, but they've actually moved into a larger venue.
Nice.
Which is a great thing. So there's a little more time to submit to the festival if you have something to submit. Definitely do it. We'll link the Film Freeway in our show notes. We'll lick the film. We'll lick the film. But we will link that's some experimental film shit. We'll link it, lick it, and then project it. I don't know, dude. If you got something to submit, the Film Freeway link is in our show notes, man. So because they are going to have best stunt performance. And the winner of that category will be on this very show.
Best stunt performance, right? The best FX.
They have all different
Best,
stuff.
all great things. All of these small little categories that always seem to get overlooked. That know are the true glue. That
best stop motion, best puppetry, best wardrobe, best set
best
deck.
puppetry. I can't wait to see all the entries for that.
Yeah,
that's.
totally.
I know you. I know you're like me. You like puppets and shit.
Yeah,
that shit's awesome.
For sure, man. For sure. So definitely, link in the show notes to submit. What else we got to say? We have a YouTube comment.
We do have a YouTube comment.
Yes.
I love our
you,
YouTube
Frankie
comments.
Bay.
Thanks, Frankie.
Frankie Bay, I've known for a long time through the martial arts world.
Nice.
But he loved our Harlequin episode with Andy Young.
Ah, that's a good episode.
Yeah, man.
I learned so much on that episode.
Episode 13.
Yeah.
Everybody go back and check that one out. But he loved it. What is his comment? He goes, "This combines my love for animation and film fighting. Great episode, fellas. And thank you for watching it."
Yeah.
And listen, I think he actually listened to it too, because he posted on his social media, like his car dashboard, like his radio with it.
Oh,
the
cool.
Episode tuned in.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool. But he's also on YouTube, so he's everywhere. We appreciate the follows, man. Very cool.
That is awesome.
Frankie Bay, you the man.
Thanks, Frankie.
Yeah. What do we got, man? Sponsors?
Sponsors. We love our sponsors.
Sponsors? Yeah.
Stunt Contact.
What can we say? Same as we say every week.
What can't we say? How about that?
Stunt Contact is awesome.
There's a lot we can say. They're awesome. They do so much for not only the stunt community, just the entire production community in general.
Great breakdown service.
Great breakdown service.
Yep.
And I mean, on point. It's not like one of those half-ass breakdown services where they'll send you something every once in a while. It'll be like, oh, hey, look, 3 weeks have gone by. Here's what's been happening the last 3 weeks. Every week.
Yep.
Every single week, sometimes daily breakdowns.
Daily. They do have a daily
depending
email
on your package.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's awesome. What is wrong with me, man?
I don't know. Maybe
Less dyslexic. I'm just.
You are less dyslexic.
Yes, I'm messing shit up today, but good thing I'm not controlling the lines that are suspending anybody like Brett Copes does. You like that segue? Oh my god,
It's fucking apple juice, right? You putting whiskey in that thing, dude? What's up, man?
Anything about apple juice, man? See the skull? You see the skull? There should be a crossbones on here. This is just like in the cartoons. This is poison.
And you let it ferment.
Yeah. Brett Copes.
Brett Copes, Fight or Flight Entertainment.
The best.
Oh, man.
Dude, his episode was great, too.
It was a great episode. It is a great. I mean, I can't wait. We have so many great episodes coming up for you guys to watch.
Well, it's not coming up. It happened already.
Wait, did it air already?
It happened.
It did? See, I don't even know what's aired. I
what
watched
happens with these
because I watched no, it is because I watch ones that haven't aired yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know which ones have aired. I forget.
Yeah, but by the time this one comes out, Brett will already be there.
It's so funny.
Have faith, Paul. There's a method to the madness with this evergreen shit.
Or just don't smoke while you watch your fucking podcast.
What? What, Paul? Paul, don't smoke, please. By the way, my wife loves that shit that you gave her.
Oh, the rosin? Yeah.
Yeah, man. You gotta get some. She wants more of that.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. Tomorrow at Empire Strikes Back.
Very nice.
Okay, man. So yeah, and of course the sponsor that we always forget, which is Breakfall Studios.
That would be us.
That would be our business.
We have found through after episode 15 through being reminded by my wife that we love to support ourselves.
Yes, we do. So please, if you need fight choreography, you need a place to rent, you need place to audition, place to shoot previs, Breakfall Studios.
Train your actors.
Yeah.
All the
train
good
your
stuff.
actors, all that good stuff, man.
Please reach out.
So listen, like us, follow us, subscribe to us.
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to forget.
Oh, what did we forget?
Marjorie Thomas. You know who that is?
I don't. Of course I do.
That's our newest paying Patreon member.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you, Marjorie Thomas.
Hi, Marjorie. It's very nice to meet you.
Yes, we love you. Thank you for supporting our show.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You will get a free ticket. Oh, no, you won't, because that already happened.
Right? It already happened.
Yes,
See?
our live event already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, it was a great event, man. Everything went smashing. It was perfect. No problems whatsoever.
It was like it didn't even happen.
Yes, definitely. So if you like this ridiculous banter, please like us, subscribe to us, follow us, give us reviews, comment on our YouTube. We will show you love.
Yes, absolutely. And even if you break our balls, we're still going to show you love because we love that shit.
If you want to be on our mailing list, it's fightingwithfriendspod@gmail.com. I think that's it, dude.
And definitely. And again, our Patreon, you know, we always love to show love to our Patreon members. We throw gifts out throughout the season. So,
yep. And you will get tickets to our next live event.
Absolutely,
for sure.
I
think that's about it. Time to bring on Kristen.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Yo, welcome to Giggles McGee over here. We knew bringing Kristen on the show is going to be like
the mad
20% talking, 80% laughing.
Yeah. Well, our humor just kind of like, we're all very similar in that sense. So anytime you guys say something, it's what I was thinking probably. So
yeah, sure. Okay, cool. So, all right. Thanks for joining us
on Film Bites with Friends podcast.
Yeah, totally. So who do we got here? Who is this, Paul?
I don't know. We just met like out on the street a little bit ago. Your name is Frank
on Tuesdays.
Esposito. We have on the show today. No, we have our good friend Kristen.
Yes. And we're talking about the epic, and I mean epic, because there's a lot of talk about this movie. A lot of talk. Good and bad. The B-movie slasher film Bloodline Killer.
Yes.
Which you were Taryn Manning's double.
Yes.
Which is actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was super cool for me, honestly. I had never I had doubled actresses before, but this was an actress that I was like, oh my gosh, like I know who this is. I watched her in Orange is the New Black, and I was a huge fan of her career in general. So that was cool for me.
It is kind of cool when that happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you, it's like when I got on Ray Donovan, I was like, oh my God, I'm on Ray Donovan and I'm doubling Eddie Marson, my favorite character on Ray Donovan. I was like, it's cool when that kind of shit happens.
The worst is when you is having to keep your shit together and not nerding out. Like and I didn't realize that. Like one of my first experiences, I met Simon Rhee. If you guys have never seen Best of the Best, he was Dahan.
Who never saw
anything.
And
fuck you, man.
See. So
she's so young.
So when I met Simon, like I wasn't working stunts at the time. I was working, content security, and I just nerded out, and we just had a whole conversation. And then all of the stunt guys came up to me, and they were all just like, "Dude, fuck you." And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Do you have any idea how bad we wanted to nerd out like that? And we just can't because we're all working." And I was like, "Oh," and then it happened to me when I work stunts.
Those moments are cool.
Yeah,
those
definitely.
moments are cool.
Yeah, they are.
So let's dial it back. How did you get the gig?
So I actually remember I was sitting in my room, and the coordinator, Matt Philbin, called. I was on a website that's no longer around, CMG.
Yeah, CMG. That was like the go-to New York area website.
I'm still a rookie, but like back then I was like even rookier.
Yeah.
You could say that. And like I remember, well, I'll start first. So Matt called me. He didn't know me from a hole in the wall.
Right.
And he was like, "Hey, I got this movie. Double Taryn Manning. I know I don't know you and you don't know me, but we'd put you up in Connecticut, and have you done any driving?" And I was like, driving? Like that's not my thing at all. No training in that area. And I was like, I'm going to be honest with you, like, no. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, all right, send me some video of you doing some throws. I sent a video of us.
Right.
From training. Mm-hmm. We had like recently just done some of that. And he was like, all right, it works. And I was like, okay.
Nice.
And that was the original first scene, the fight with Tyrese.
Right, right. And you sent us the rehearsal video for that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I remember when you did it, you sent, look, I did this fight scene with Tyrese.
Yeah.
You get to take a gun and shoot him and stuff.
Yep, because I'd only done practices with you guys, and training with you guys was hard. So I was nervous once I got on set. I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is going to be a 6-hour, 7-hour like gig and getting thrown around stuff. And it's very different.
Oh yeah.
You know? So I felt very ready, but,
it's not bullshit when we tell people like, right. When we have our workouts and we go like 5-6 hours and we tell people you have to be able to last that long. Mm-hmm. You have to be like the SWAT team.
Yeah. You have to be uncomfortable.
And then it won't be that long.
Yeah. Absolutely.
On the day. I mean, the actual day that you shoot might be that long, but.
Right.
rehearsals and coming up with stuff, usually not that long.
Yeah.
Being okay with being uncomfortable is a huge part of this, and being patient with it, and just understanding that there's nothing you can do. There's nowhere you can go.
Yeah.
You're stuck, you know,
Absolutely.
so you might as well just, why be pissed off for the whole ride?
Yeah. It was cool too, because we got to have rehearsal in the basement. It was just coordinator, me, and Larry, who was doubling Tyrese.
Right.
None of us knew each other.
We'll put the rehearsal video in the in the episode so people can see it.
Larry had recently doubled Tyrese somewhere else, but like, you know, working with a bunch of people you don't know. We were up in Connecticut,
right?
So it's not like we were in New York and people worked together. Like, no, Larry's from Atlanta, Matt's from Detroit,
right.
I'm from Long Island. It was like we all had to trust each other, and it worked.
Yeah.
We gave production a bunch of different options for the rehearsal, and we changed it on the day because you know how that goes. But
of course,
it was really cool. It was a cool experience. I had to rack a gun, which I had never you know, really done before. Fight with the weapon, but also look like her, you know, covering myself and whatnot, which was new. And I've tried to remember everything we talked about. But
what's her stature? Like, kind of like little
very
like
similar.
you? Yeah.
She's much slimmer than I am. Like, you know, I'm a dancer, gymnast. That's never going to be my physique, but we're about the exact same size.
That's cool.
Yeah. And we both were wigged. So that was nice that it wasn't like, oh, this is gonna.
So when you got through the rehearsal, did you feel like, whew, I did it?
Yeah.
It was like, because this is like your first real fight scenes, right? In a movie.
It was. And it was cool to watch back, honestly, because I knew it was me.
Yeah.
You could kind of tell it was me a little bit because I knew. You know what I mean? Like, but you know how sometimes
watching it though,
cuts,
watching it, you can't really.
You think? Maybe
No,
it's just because I'm like, oh, like I know this.
Well, because you know your movements so well, especially you know you said you know you do gymnastics, dancing, all that stuff. So you're super aware of all of your movements and even your little micro ticks. So you probably see all that stuff.
And by the way, for the people watching and listening, you're not just a dancer. You're like a fucking ass kicking professional dancer. You dance for who?
I danced for
right
Steve
now.
Harvey.
Yeah.
Shakira. I was in Adidas commercial. I've done lots of stuff. I danced for the Knicks.
Yeah.
On their hype team for years. That was a really cool live training because like if you mess up, everyone knows.
Yeah.
Like there's no, okay, let's cut and go back. And I feel like in a weird way with stunts, like you don't really get that either a lot. If they like that take, well, that's too bad if you don't like it, you know, so.
Yeah, we've talked about that before on the show, like where you feel like you could have done better, but they're like, that was great, let's move on. You're like, but I could do better, you know?
Manny Severio actually taught me that because I was like, oh, do you have any notes? Like, do you have anything I could work on? And he was like, honestly, if I have nothing to say, that's good news. Don't ask.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that's easier. I don't want to talk. So
for those listening, Manny Severio is like legendary New York area coordinator. Basically, he's coordinated like every M. Night Shyamalan movie ever, and lots of other things too. And
that's what I worked with him on.
Yeah, you worked Knock at the Cabin.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of the coordinating for Rockstar in video games.
Yeah, Rockstar.
Right.
Dude, I've been working for Manny for years on that. But that's like, if any video game nuts out there, I believe the last GTA, Red Dead, and this, Manny's all over it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it was my first job on Blacklist. I remember like after doing it, I had to get shot, fall down, do a couple things, nothing crazy. But Court Hessler didn't say a word to me.
And
I was like, I felt like, oh, I totally fucked up, man. But then he booked me again 2 weeks later. I'm like, oh, maybe I didn't fuck up.
Yeah.
So no news is good news in this business.
A lot of don't speak unless spoken to, almost in a way.
Yeah.
When you're working more of, but I'm quiet personally, so that's fine with me.
It's kind of, stunts is one of those things where it's like you're there to do your job and not get praised for it.
Yeah.
Or you shouldn't expect it. You should just go there, you do your job, and then the quicker you get done with your job, normally the better you did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
totally.
is more comfortable, I feel like, to be like, all right, we did this. What's next? You know.
So you wrap up this rehearsal with the Tyrese fight.
Yes. I had brought your back pad also, which is funny. I didn't have a full
oh, that's right,
stunt bag, just thinking back to that, that's.
But we've known you since basically you were just transitioning from your dancer life to your stunt life. Like you really hadn't done anything yet when we first met you.
I had not. I had booked an Adidas commercial as a stunt performer, and I got a taste of like what SAG was like, and you know, you make a lot of money when you get a commercial or you do stuff as
especially
a
national
performer.
commercial.
Yeah. I was very fortunate with that because I flip. I'll book those, you know, like niche jobs and stuff like that. But I also, so I break dance and I flipped and did like a lot of tricking and stuff that most girls in my little niche couldn't do, you know?
Right.
So I was training with some people at the time and they were like, you need to join SAG. In the dance world, no one joins SAG. It's like the opposite. You're just non-union forever.
Yeah.
Which, you know, to each their own.
Sure.
But I joined in November of 2019 and that was a lot of money for me. I was freshly 21 years old.
Great timing, by the way.
Yeah. And then the pandemic
I got in SAG. COVID.
Yeah. I had worked the 2020 New Year's Eve with Steve Harvey on Fox.
Yeah.
And I remember looking back on that, I was like, wow, like everyone was probably sick. Just so weird to think about.
Yeah.
But that was a SAG job. So I was like, oh, like, and it was a wonderful job, wonderful experience. And I was like, this is what it's like, you know, this is like it's what people really working do. And then the world shut down. But it was cool.
Yeah.
I don't regret it. I'll never regret joining.
No, of course.
Yeah.
So you finished the fight. Tell us the difference between shooting the fight and
rehearsing
the
the
actual fight on set.
Shooting.
What was that experience like?
Shooting. So, you know how you get there and it's like, oh, you might get sides, you might not. Like the script changed 10 minutes ago. Like, you know, stuff like that. And I was like, okay. And Taryn, she was so nice. She was very nice to work with, very friendly. I was actually holding her sides for her, which was a cool experience. It kind of made me feel like I was, you know, part of it, doing that little part with her. Yeah,
but people listening don't realize like the stunt double does more than just stunt for them.
Yeah, you have to have pads for them.
Yeah, your pads for them, your moral support. Sometimes, you know, like I've doubled actors where I didn't have to do a fight for them at all. They did themselves, but in between takes, they're coming over. How'd that look? Did that look all right?
And she was super like into being collaborative. She was very easy to do that with. And again, I'm shy, so I didn't want to, you know, invade on her, you know, process or whatever she was doing. And she was really into it. And she was holding the gun, and we had done it where I crept up on Tyrese, and then when it ended up happening was, you know, they kind of changed some things around, and it was his double. It wasn't him.
Right.
We never cut to the actors. It was us.
Right.
It was just the stunt doubles, which was really interesting to see because I was like, wow, they never, you know how sometimes the actor will do a run? There was none of that.
Right.
It was just you guys from beginning to end.
I am on the pillow with the gun, and like, it was a cool shot. They did it, I guess, because I was like this with the wig, and she came right into frame, and it was like, we changed the struggle with the gun a little bit, just spacing, and with the wig I couldn't see really, but
right.
It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, and for those listening, we'll have the link to the fights in the show notes. Actually, well, we have the trailer in the show notes, and then there's a video. I don't know if you saw it. It's like all the deaths in Bloodline Killer.
Really, I did not. I have not.
So it'll be in that. It'll be in
awesome.
that video. Yeah.
When you started, you know, when you knew you had to double her and you met her for the first time and you started watching her on set, was there anything that she did that you were like, oh, I need to emulate that?
Yes. A lot of her scenes, she's like unhinged because, you know, obviously watching the movie, she was almost a bit of a mental patient herself, kind of like equally as
she was a nutcase.
Yeah.
She was a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I would try to make sure my hands were a little shaky and like, not like, fighting, you know?
Yeah.
Sure. She wasn't, you know, that's not her character, but I definitely tried to be shaky and, fragile almost, you know, because this, you know, Adam Shippey, who played the skeleton, is like 6, whatever.
He's a big
huge.
dude.
We love Adam.
We love Adam.
Awesome.
He was so nice to me, so nice to work with.
So for everybody listening, Adam was also in Fallout. He's inside the suit. He's the dude inside the suit.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up, I don't think he even knew that he was going to end up being like the main
killer.
Yeah.
The Michael Myers wannabe.
Yeah. Yes. It was so funny because we would just be like, hanging out in the outtakes and stuff and be like, what is going on? Like
I said that watching the movie.
We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And we first shot in December. It was like, all right, nice to meet everyone. See ya. We'll maybe see you again.
Right.
It is June.
Yeah.
The next time we go in to work on this again.
That's
not
entirely.
a long time.
That's not entirely uncommon for like indies
Mm-hmm.
that are just on shoestring budgets. Like,
And Matt texted me and was like, "Hey,
we're back.
Hey, you want to come back?"
That's funny.
I was like, "Yeah, He was so cool to work with.
Yeah.
He is the most sarcastic person, very similar to us.
So what's he like? Is he also a no news is good news kind of coordinator?
No, he is very like, all right, awesome, moving on. Or he'd be like, oh shit.
He'll just tell you.
Blunt. Yeah, and I like that. I was raised in a home like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But he also had a lot of trust in the people he hired.
Yeah.
For not knowing them. And he made this little team. And, we worked together for like a fair amount of time. But like, he gave us direction. We'd work on it. And he'd be like, all right, now it's on you. You know? But
that was an awesome team. Like when I saw who was on this movie, regardless, I mean, just like sometimes you want to work on something. The movie could be total shit or it could be a fucking Oscar winner.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like who you work with.
Mm-hmm.
Like Adam Shippey, Matt Flanagan,
a really
AC.
good friend. She became a really good friend.
Yeah, all really great people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was weird how that worked out. So I went back up there to double Taryn Manning. She gets taken by the throat and thrown against the wall.
Yeah.
By Lee, the skeleton. And that was me.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was it, And then Matt was like, oh, wait, could you actually double Montana Gillis, the girlfriend of Drew in the movie? And originally I was going to double Shawnee Smith because, again, same height, similar build, but we didn't really look alike and it wasn't really a match. So AC doubled Shawnee. I doubled Montana. And I didn't know AC at the time. And Matt Flanagan was a really good friend of mine. We had been training in Connecticut for years with you guys.
Yeah, we love Matt.
We're both from Long Island. And I've been telling him, yes, I've been telling him
and
how
by the way,
much
just
fun.
to tell AC she needs to get her ass and work out with us next time.
She would love to.
Yeah.
She's we actually shot a practice fight one time and I ended up fracturing my knee and she got hurt. Maybe she got a minor concussion. I don't remember. It wasn't because we were fighting.
Maybe she shouldn't come train with us. I don't know.
It wasn't because we were fighting. It was separate. It was one of those days where we did too much. You know what I mean?
So anyway, you're all there.
Right.
You switch who you're doubling.
Yes.
And you got this. This is for the big finale fight.
Yes, that was.
And thanks again to Matt Philibin.
Yes.
Because he put the previs on YouTube, which we'll link in the show notes, but we'll also put some clips in the episode. Yeah. The previs is really fucking good.
That was...
It's a good previs.
Show up to set.
Yeah.
Production's there. On rehearsal.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Put together this fight. Some actors are there.
Yeah.
It was a lot going on. And it had to be done. And it was a 55, 60 beat fight.
Yeah.
With an actor and then all of us.
Yeah, one of the writer actors is in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was so nice.
James.
Yes, James Gaudioso. His brother was in the movie as well, and
his brother played the detective that gets killed, right?
They both wrote the movie too, and they were in production for it, like producing it also. Yeah. So it was just like a lot. People were wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah.
And it was a winner. Like, so that was ambitious for with weapons.
Yes.
With Adam Shippey in the mask.
Yeah.
Matt Flanagan getting broken over the table.
I was going to say, with the table break, that's a lot.
And through the window.
And that was
through the
the
window
end.
at the end. Yeah.
How many
We
people went through the
really-
window?
Like what?
five
Four?
or
Four?
Five? Yeah.
No, seriously. So it was Shippy, AC, Matt Flanagan, the actor James, and me.
Yeah.
5 people. I think Matt Philippin ended up doubling the actor going through the window,
Yeah.
which was so funny. Just like,
Well, Matt's a kind of a big dude. He's
yeah.
muscular.
Yes, he's built. He so he actually practiced the glass, going through the glass window before any of us did,
Right.
just to test it out and make sure it was safe. And it was way too thick originally, and he was like, "This is not gonna work." Like,
Oh my God.
no actors going through this. Like, but we all just had to trust each other.
Yeah.
And I was on Matt Flanagan to go over and I looked at them and I was like, should I close my eyes? And I know that seems like a dumb question, but I had never gone through glass.
Yeah.
And I had to run and grab everyone to go through the window.
Yeah.
And I was like, how am I going to close my eyes? You know what I mean? Because I'm coming from in the hallway.
Last
and
minute.
This door was,
Yeah.
it was narrow
Hit 'em
for
and-
that many.
Second you hit him, close him.
Yeah. And I'm in a dress, so I don't have a lot of like,
Yeah. You don't have
padding
pads or
going
anything.
on.
Yeah.
and it was funny.
And the
looking
window
back.
wasn't squibbed, right? There was no explosives. It was just
No,
got your
yes.
force.
Yes, exactly.
Because sometimes on a
it's like
big plate
4 in the
glass like
morning.
that, they'll
We had-
squib it sometimes.
Okay.
So it shatters when you hit it.
Okay,
The effects
don't
guy will
quote me
blow
on
it.
that. I could. We
probably-
broke it.
I think probably on a low budget like that, probably is like you guys.
You
gonna
probably
break
didn't
the
bring
glass.
We
in
had
a
2 glasses, like one for Matt Philippin to try, and then us.
So it was
and,
a
like,
one.
that was
Like
it.
that was it. You got to get it on the first
Yeah.
time.
Wow.
And it was, it was. We did it.
Yeah.
It was an experience.
Yeah. Totally.
It was really fun. I mean, that rehearsal was like a training for us. Like that, it was one of those rehearsals that was like,
How was James, the actor with the glass? Because he's not a stunt guy, so that's like.
I don't think he
Oh,
ended
no,
up going
you
through
said,
the glass.
Matt doubled him,
Matt,
probably.
yeah. To be honest with you, it was 4 a.m. We've been shooting all day, getting a little delusional. So I remember I was like, let me focus on myself.
Right.
Let me
Right.
not like wonder what's going on with this.
Yeah.
I can only do what I can control. We had been shooting since like the morning, afternoon, and it
Right.
was, no one expected it to go like as late as it did, kind of thing. And it was our last day, and it was like, we had been there for a while. We stayed up there for a while. I love Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Super scenic.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I love Connecticut.
Well, parts of it are.
Pretty
Part
drive
of
through.
like it's nice to look at, but like,
Yeah,
do you ever drive through Connecticut? It's fucking terrible.
I know.
Well, that's all the
It's like
industrial
traffic for
part.
no reason everywhere.
Because it's one road.
That's like driving to Jersey. I'm like, what is
Well.
this? What is this state? Like nothing but there's beautiful parts of Jersey,
And
but
you can't make any
when you're
turns.
driving into it from New York, all you see is like factories.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was,
Not shitting on Jersey, all you Jersey listeners out there.
I don't know what's wrong with people who drive in Connecticut. I have a problem with it. Sorry, I'm going to shit on it. Like, they just all of a sudden, you just New York to Connecticut, boom, traffic for no fucking reason.
like the AMP guys, Scott Hoffman and Bobby McFarlane, Matt Flanagan and I had been driving up there like once a week, twice a week
Right.
to train, and it was just so weird that now we're working up here.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like we were working on a job together, and it was just a weird, like, full circle moment. I'll always remember that.
That's
too.
cool.
Like Matt and I had driven up together when my car basically exploded. The transmission, this is a disaster. But so the movie was shot on Asylum Avenue. Just like that wasn't part of the script. Like it was like the house was literally on
That's
Asylum
hysterical.
Avenue.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So
Did they actually put the sign? I didn't.
I'm like,
remember
was that
seeing the
street sign in the
street.
movie? Oh, fuck.
Why was that
Jesus.
not in the movie?
Come on now.
And Matt and I were like, oh no, like,
That's awesome.
is this a sign? So anytime
Yes, it's a sign.
something funny in
It
our
says
life
Asylum
happens,
on
we're
it.
like, this is Asylum Avenue. Oh, literally. Just weird, like, I don't know. It's always something like that.
Yeah. So how long after the previs did you guys shoot the actual fight? Or was it like
Few
the same,
days.
like right after?
That was a Sunday, and we shot on Wednesday, I
Cool.
want to say.
Yeah.
And it was like, there was no rehearsal in
Yeah.
between that. So it was kind of like, hope
How
everyone
was it?
remembers.
Was it written
Yeah.
the way it plays out,
So
or what was different
Matt
between this?
Philbin
Yeah, the
was
script.
like, this isn't gonna. He was like, I'm doing what I need to with this because there's a lot of moving parts. Literally, there's a chair thrown across the room.
Well, yeah, there's like fireplace implements
yeah.
and fire irons and like all this kind of stuff.
Even when we were doing like a props rehearsal,
Yeah.
like walk through, Philbin was like, I have to secure the room, like production and crew and like you need to get out, like love you, but like whoop, there's no room for if we mess up one object in here, like it's a problem.
Yeah.
We don't have it it was similar with the glass. Like we have one or two things here. And if, we had glass, shatter on someone's head, like there were multiple things going on. And we were, AC and I were nervous that the fight was maybe going to be lit too dimly to like see what was going on.
All the elements.
Because that happens a lot,
Sure.
like you'll do something sick and you'll see it back and you'll be like, I can't even see anything.
Yeah.
Like, but it, as we were talking about previously, like the fights came out really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you had a great team with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt Philbin was he worked with a lot of big.
Yeah.
people,
Sure. He's been around.
Yeah. So, and he's just one of those people that was like, all right, that sucked again, change it, So, and that was my first time working with a weapon too, like with another actor and just like the reactions to, and timing with other performers. There was a lot going on. And if you mess up, it's on you, you know?
Well, just in a movie of like in a B horror movie like this, normally what you watch is what you end up getting in the fights. Right. That is not the case in this. Your fights and the team was, and again, we know them all, so we know it was a great team. But for me, I think that all those scenes kicked the movie up just a little bit because you guys were so on point with that. And I felt that when you have a room of all of those people that are really, really all about it, and it showed in all of those scenes.
Yeah,
totally.
So, it's awesome that you got to work with such a great crew of guys.
We wanted to make Matt proud. Like he put a lot of sweat and work, and I'm not going to say tears, but like, it was a lot of work to do all of that.
He might have been home crying.
Well,
how did I get involved in this?
There were a lot of funny moments like that, just like it was ambitious. What was being asked was ambitious, and I really think we made the most of it. With the time we had too, you know,
cool.
In terms of time, the strike was in like 2 or 3 days after this.
Yeah.
So after we got the final.
Yeah, there is that pressure. The movie that I worked on we wrapped like 2 days before the strike, and everybody was like stressed out. Are we going to finish on time?
Performers were getting like anxious about like, are we going to have to like, leave the set?
Yeah.
If it got to that point, and that was the last time you were getting a check for a while. Too.
Yeah.
So there was that going on, and also it was whispers. It was like, I hear blah blah.
The time leading up to the strike, nobody really knew. Yeah. But I remember because our movie wrapped 2 days before the strike, and then we were like basically felt kind of good because we got the interim contract, so we could work because the writers were already on strike, and then we're like, are we going to finish this before SAG strikes? But we did. It was crazy. With
one of the not exactly the interim contract, but there was a way you could go like with the strike. I actually worked 2 jobs, obviously not that were that you shouldn't have been doing.
Right, yeah.
It was interesting how there was language and like you could do live.
Well, it was also we were only striking the TV theatrical.
Exactly.
So if you were doing like the live shows, Saturday Night Live, like all that network stuff.
Or if it was already written, so you could shoot it, but you couldn't change anything.
Couldn't change the scripts.
It had to be exactly so.
What's interesting is like I'm someone who's not super knowledgeable about that stuff or didn't come from a film, TV, whatever have you background.
Right.
So I would always text you and be like, what does this mean? Or what's happening, or, you know, I have this, you know, piece of paper in front of me, like, what's going on. And I think that, you know, it was just such a weird time.
Yeah, it was.
Even SAG in and of itself now, like, it's a lot to navigate.
Got an email about the video game strike, and and in my head, I'm like, it's not over?
But did it even happen? I mean,
no, but that's what I mean. I'm like, what?
I don't know. To me, we don't have to go down this rabbit hole, but I just feel like the video game strike is like a fake strike. I feel like it's
I didn't even know what was happening.
We're going to.
I thought it was over.
We're going to strike, but not really strike.
Right.
Because there's so many people that got permission to work on the biggest shows.
So many video games that like because they started, there are games that have been in development for so long that they started before this contract was has now been an intern for years.
Yeah.
I'll just say for years now. Mm-hmm. So there were video games that were in contract before that are basically grandfathered in to not have to be part of the strike because they were before.
Right.
Like, what's the point of a fucking strike if you're not going to withdraw the work? Like,
right.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about SAG politics. So you said you weren't raised in the film world and stuff. So like, what? Let's dial it back. Like, what was the motivation for you to go in that direction?
Wow.
And this actually ties in because, like, in the intro, we had a mailbag question, semi related about the question was, my son's is going to school for acting, and what martial art should he take that would be best for his?
That's interesting.
So you similar situation, right? You're coming from dance, and now you're going into stunts. Like, so how did that whole transition happen? Like, what was the light bulb that went off in your head that said stunts?
So I was fortunate enough to go to a gym on Long Island called Fivestar Sports Academy. If you were a dancer, tricker, break dancer, etc., flipper, parkour, again, you knew what gym that was.
Any kind of acrobatic stuff.
Yes.
You were there.
It was like the hot spot. All the first tricking gatherings were held there. I know a lot of people from, you know, that I met who are in stunts that were like, oh my God, like, we knew each other from back then.
Right.
Nothing to do with stunts.
Right.
You know? So that was in East Rockaway, New York, on Long Island. And my mom looked up parkour just on, I guess, Google or something, went to that gym, spent basically every day of my life there.
Right.
And learned from some of the really successful now stunt performers, coordinators. And I still have relationships with them to this day. Like, because I was a child, I was 12, 13, even a little bit younger, and they were 10, 15 years older than me within that range.
Right.
So I watched them go from, you know, just like their cool little fight fake stuff, you know, learning how to use bow and arrow, learning how to use a weapon. And I would just sit there and like watch them do it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be a dancer. You know, that's cool, but that's not, you know, I'm so good at dance. And that's all I think about, like, artistically. And then I watched how successful they became, and it was very inspiring. And someone else said, I booked a job doubling Kate McKinnon on SNL to spin on my head.
Right.
It didn't end up going that way. I did some other stuff, like breakdancing wise, but someone was like, why don't you try to do this? And I was like, well, I don't know how to fight. Like,
yeah.
And, you know, I grew up with people who, like, you don't fake that stuff. Like, you learn how to fight. You don't, you know, hope for the best, you know, and you can tell.
Yeah.
You know, talking to you guys, you know when someone's bullshitting, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So I was just kind of like, all right, let me try to actually train, put some footage together. I still need to get my reel better, but, that's when I found you guys, and I was like, I'm going to learn things. I now train, at an MMA gym, Law MMA.
Oh yeah, sure.
On Long Island. I do private lessons. Like in kickboxing, boxing, in that Muay Thai kind of more area. But like 3 or 4 years ago, I wouldn't have even known what that meant. You know what I mean? I would have just been like, oh,
Law
yeah,
MMA, Ray Longo's. That's Ray Longo's place. Yeah.
I did kickboxing, and I know how to punch the bag. Like, you know, there's a lot more to it than that, obviously. And just coming from, you know, you guys, a lot of people come from lifelong martial arts backgrounds, you know, and
Sure.
that's more of a natural progression
Well,
sometimes.
It's like the flip side. It's like, no pun intended,
Yeah.
but you've seen me try to do your shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like watching a walrus trying to do gymnastics or some shit. Like, sorry,
That's
you know,
so
I'm
fun.
lucky I can do a back 3/4 and land on my face. Like, that's about the best you're gonna get.
It's so
from me.
funny because we all want what we don't have. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I think about that stuff and it's just second nature to me.
Yeah.
But then when I have to think about like closing my hands to
Mhm.
punch or like, you know, really defending myself,
Yeah.
that's not second nature to me, you know. So
You know, listening to
It's
you talk
different.
about going from dance to stunts reminds me, like, when I was training in Russia for Sambo, I got to train with some Olympic gymnasts.
Mhm.
And this one guy, he was an Olympic silver medalist. And he was like, he said he was always jealous of the combat sports guys over there
yeah,
because he goes, for me, like, once I have my routine, that's what I'm doing for 4 years.
yeah,
That.
yeah.
I can't do anything else but that.
That's very much how I.
Yeah. And then he goes,
was.
but the combat sports guys get to do everything. They get
Yeah.
to, they play, because over in Russia, they're like, if you want to be a good combat sports person, you have to train lots of different sports because fighting is improvisational. So
Yeah.
you have to have your body doing different things.
Mhm.
And he said he was always jealous of them. So hearing you talk about going from dance to stunts,
Yeah.
did you feel like the world is open? I can do so much more
I
shit.
also didn't realize that, like, and this sounds, you know, very. I'm an only child. Also, my parents are super supportive about dance and like training and working hard, and that was my whole life. Like, I trained 7 days a week. There was no like, oh yeah, like I go to the studio 1 hour a week. Like that just wasn't my life.
Yeah.
So when I saw that like people do that in other areas, I was like, oh wow, like it's not just dance.
Yeah.
You know, like there are other things people work hard to do, you know, and they're equally as difficult, if not more, you know.
Right.
But it was cool because I had a lot of live experience on camera, commercial. You know, I had worked in a lot of fields. I had a lot of on-set experience.
Well, you've performed in front of
So-
stadiums full of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. So just like it was a natural progression, but also another thing, people always say in the stunt community, oh, you're a dancer, like, you must be so good at choreography. It is so different. Like,
Is it really?
it's so different.
I mean, maybe the moves are different, but not the idea of memorizing.
But we feel like
Yeah.
you don't pick it up the same way. You're not like when they show you something, you're like, oh, okay.
It's with dance for me, I feel like you can like personalize it a little bit, you know, whereas with fighting, like it has to be what it is, you know, like you can't just like punch like that's not gonna work.
You feel it's more specific.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was also more of a freestyler in dance, so that's a whole other rabbit hole.
Well, you were like jazz as opposed to like classical music.
Yeah,
There's no improvisation in classical.
right, exactly.
But jazz, you can kind of,
Yes.
you know.
In dance, I feel like you can kind of get the compliment where it's like, oh, nobody does it like that. And
Right.
it looks great.
Yeah.
But in a fight, it's like, nobody punches like that, dude.
Yes, and
And then
it's-
that means you're punching completely wrong.
it's universal. Like it's a universal thing. Like this looks the way it's supposed to look, and that's it. I like that about it, but it's very different. You know, it's not like, not to say that boxers, kickboxers, you know, MMA people don't have their stylized
Sure.
ways of doing things, but for stunts specifically, you can't just like do whatever you want.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So that was a big
Cool.
big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. But an
Sweet.
awesome one.
On the other side, what about, and I know we've talked about this before, when they were like, no, you need to be sloppier.
Yeah.
Stop pointing your toe. Stop
Yes.
with the everything being so perfect.
Yeah.
You need to learn to relax. And so
Yes.
what was that transition like?
It's so funny because I was classically trained, but like that's not the route I went down in dance. So maybe it's the gymnast in me, I don't know. But hearing that was so funny because I was like, oh, my mom would be so happy to hear I was pointing my toes, you know, like after all these years, like just super funny. But it doesn't leave you, you know. So hearing that,
Yeah.
if you're like standing there like this, you know, ready to
Right.
go and starting to, you know, be more human, it's just so different because it's not instinctual anymore. It's been conditioned into you to, you know, I'll sit like this in a chair or like, you know, you're not, it's just, it's
Did
so
you have the
interesting.
stereotypical, like, harsh dance teachers growing up
Yeah, definitely.
that were like fucking
yeah,
like drill sergeants?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But also people who are super creative and successful in other avenues, and I loved that about dance because it's so creative. And I'm not creative. Like, that is not somewhere I excel. I'm good at being told what to do, and I'll work on it and I'll do it, which I like about stunts.
Right.
But that was something I was thinking about earlier too, was with stunts, you have to be ready to work with a lot of creative people at once and not always give your 2 cents, you know, and just do what you need to do, especially if you're doubling someone. So
yeah, for sure.
I like,
And not just the other performers, right?
yeah,
The camera ops,
exactly.
the sound guys,
Yep.
the ADs, the HMU people. It's like this big organism. Everybody's contributing to it. And one person fucks up, it's like dominoes. Everything starts to crumble. It's like pulling the thread on a sweater.
And you're the focal point of that moment. So you have to have it together. You know, the coordinator has to know that, like, all right, I told you X, Y, and Z, like, go do it now. You know? So it's just very different from dance, where you're told, like, okay, this is your combo. We might change it a few times. Let's go on set. We'll shoot for like maybe an hour and like good night. It's very different.
What's the hardest thing for you to wash out? Like when you're on set, you know, that's so ingrained. Like for me, it's, you know, if I'm going to be in a fight, I have to make sure that if I'm the goon, that I fight like a goon. I can't fight tight like a special forces guy. I got to make sure my blocks are like, oh shits, you know, and everything is me not really being ready for it, and kind of, you know, what was the hardest thing?
I feel like that's an ever evolving thing for me because I am still new, but I definitely struggle with that. Like, it's not me. I'm playing a character. Like, it's not me doing this, because a lot of times for dance, I was hired as me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's definitely something I have to remember.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I never considered that. Yeah, as a dancer, you are you. You're performing as you.
Yes.
People they're booking you because of what you can do. Yeah. I mean, they are booking you as a stunt performer for what you can do, but you have to play somebody else.
You're playing a character.
Yeah.
It's not about you, and not that I was, you know, making it about myself, but it's just different.
Yeah, for sure.
That was the first time I had understood that advice, when someone was like, they were like, you need to be the guy that you teach your students to defend themselves against. And I was like, oh shit. Like it rang a bell, and like how I need to act and how I need to be, and like what they meant by like, you're not a professional. And I was like, oh wow. It's kind of crazy when things click like that.
The exercise that you guys do with the choreo, where you're like, okay, now you're drunk. You work at a bank.
Oh, and we switch it all. Yeah.
And it really like opens up that possibility, you know? And especially when you get on set and you have no idea what's going on.
Is that that's the one where we give you the choreo and then we have you work on it, and then we are like, okay, now you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this.
Yep.
Yeah, we give you different characters to play. Same choreo, different characters.
Exactly. You can't change it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's super helpful. It's very interesting, honestly. But and I keep quoting what we do because I train with you guys. So like that's my go-to thought process with stuff. And I think back to a lot of stuff.
But now you train with a lot of people. I mean, I feel fortunate that we got you in the beginning of your stunt life and just have seen you blossom the way you have. But now you have like different groups to train with. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But that's the way it should be.
Yeah. Yes. I have my own gym too. Like I coach gymnastics as my side thing.
I'm like, she can flip and trick. She can hang out with all the cool kids. We can't.
But I can't kill someone.
We're the two old guys in the corner watching people do that shit. Being like, fuck.
No, we're like, dude, you made the comment before, like, we're like the old walruses, just clapping. We're just clapping everybody on.
That's really funny. A walrus is like my favorite animal, so that reference is just really funny.
So what would you're like 5 years basically SAG now?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, we get hit up all the time, like the mailbag question. What would your advice to new people be? This is for all the people listening to the show, that the aspiring stunt performers, the people that constantly write to us and ask about, how do I get in the business? What do I do? Like, what's your advice?
Especially people who are started in dance, who are doing something else, who maybe have that a little spider tingle of like, oh, maybe I should check this out.
you can't be sensitive. You're not going to be good at everything. You know, like, I don't care what you're going into it for. People are better than you. And you have to be okay with that and accept criticism and be frustrated, but in a positive way. Like, that's part of the journey with this stuff, you know? And that's, you have to be ready to work hard. And if that's not something you're comfortable with, then I don't think it's a good avenue for you. But, you know, on the flip side, you have to, you know, like, find your niche and work towards, you know, for stunts example, you have to, you know, hustle. You got to meet people who work in the industry. You got to get on set. You got to fine tune your skills and be like, I'm good enough to do X, Y, and Z. Here's what I have to offer you. You know, here I am.
Yeah.
And don't sell yourself short, but also understand that, like, a lot of these people have been around this business for 40
decades.
years.
Yeah.
They don't care that you watched, you know, the most recent Harley Quinn movie and you enjoy the action in it. But definitely you have to just have your thing that you're good at.
Interesting. Good advice. Because a lot of people don't make it 5 years. Especially like with what's happened in the last 5 years, the obstacles. Like, so you're doing something right.
I'm trying.
Yeah. No, seriously. There's a lot of people who just hung up their gloves. I mean, COVID, a lot of people quit the business during COVID.
Yeah.
For different reasons. Maybe, you know, they realize like they can't be in a profession that is that dependent on, you know, everything working perfectly. Same with the strike.
Yeah.
And the strike was worse than COVID in a lot of ways.
Especially
you know?
because we all got back to like a normalcy and then it was like, nope.
Well, and during COVID, we had social assistance, we had like loans and unemployment. The strike was like, strike was like, fuck you. You guys chose this.
But the worst thing about all of it is that while we're going through all of that, all of these productions that are sitting there losing money, they're figuring out ways to keep making money while this is happening. So we're forcing them to think of ways to make us obsolete.
Yes.
Right.
Which sucks even more because it's like in the long run, it's even worse because it's like, oh, we just gave them more time.
Yeah.
I mean,
as opposed to if we were working, then they really don't have time to think about it. But now they just...
Yeah.
They figured out ways. I mean, in some ways, the strike helped them figure out, like you're saying, figure out ways that they can continue on without us.
Like the AI, the mapping, the background, all the mapping of the BG.
I mean, everything. The bursting of the streaming bubble, like all this stuff has shrunken the stunts, at least we'll just talk about stunts, has shrunken the business. I don't think it's going to bounce back to where it was. It's going to stay. This is basically where it was before the streaming bubble. It's like back to quote unquote normal. It's not a contracture like people are saying. It's just going back. Like we had this blip and now we're back to normal. And so it's even a harder time to try and get into the business as a performer because there's going to be more demand. Less demand, more people. So you're going to have to be better at what you do to get booked.
Another to piggyback on like advice that I just thought about, get on set somehow. Like you don't have to be union.
That's the first thing I did.
To be a stunt performer, like get on set. I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, if you feel people are judgmental about things, you know, be private. Everybody doesn't have to know what you're doing all the time. Like, because, you know, there's like the way stunts is, it's just like people are like, oh, you know, like you just become a performer one day. And that's just not the reality of it.
Well, it's like anything else, you know, when people ask me, like, how do you be a chef?
Right.
Go be a fucking dishwasher.
Right.
And go be the best dishwasher you can be.
Yeah. Get
like,
in the kitchen.
The best chef is if he, put it this way, if the kitchen breaks down, the chef should go to the sink.
Right.
And he should be washing dishes. And everybody else should stay doing their fucking job. And you should be the best dishwasher there is.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you know, when people ask, like, how do you start, be a PA?
Yeah.
Get a job, be a PA, be a parking PA. Anything you can do to get yourself on set, to talk to someone, to get you somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because if they see the job that you do, they'll want you. That's how sets work. They see your work ethic and they want that work ethic.
The work ethic and the relationship building and all that stuff is, I don't know if I want to say more important, but than the skill level.
Yeah,
but it in a way
extent.
it is.
Yeah.
And when they don't know your name on set and you're a PA and you're first starting, they describe your work ethic. They're like, I need the guy who does this. I need the guy who does this. Or you're the guy who doesn't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
And that follows you. You know,
Everywhere.
usually the way you are in one aspect of life is usually how you are.
And you know what follows you even more? Is when you fuck up,
well,
or you do a bad job.
When we first,
they'll remember that.
When we first started, I remember when Steve and I went to our first workshop, one of our first workshops. They said, "You're only as good as your last job." And I looked at Steve, and I looked at him, and I go, "That makes no sense." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I go, "You're only as bad as your last fuck up." I go, everyone expects you to do your job.
Right.
No one's going to remember what they expect of you.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is.
You're only known for your last job if your last job was shit.
Yeah. I go, but if you fuck up, I go, they're going to remember you fucking up forever. Even if you do great, they're still going to remember that one fuck up.
You can have one fuck up and do 5, 10 amazing performances after that, but people still remember the fuck up. Or an injury. That's why everybody in our business is so afraid to talk about injuries. Because you could be long healed from an injury and people are still like, oh yeah, Kristen, she fucked up her knee. Like, let's move on to the next person. You're like, I've been in rehab and that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
My knee is fine now, you know?
Yep.
I remember I was jumping out of a truck getting ratchets and I blew my knee out on set. And the first thing I did was I looked around to make sure nobody saw me.
Right.
And then I got up and I was like, I started walking it off and a PA saw me limping. She's like, "Why are you limping?" And I was like, nothing. No reason. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Everything's good. I'm good. I'm fine.
Well,
and then that's the dangerous part, right? Because then you have performers performing not at their best.
Yeah. And
because
you know,
they want to hide. They want to hide.
Business,
well, the day was done.
No, I'm just saying in general, like performers hiding injuries and stuff is not entirely the safest thing, but it's because our business is, for the most part, entirely word of mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we don't have agents, managers, blah, blah, blah. I mean, some people do if they're also like actors or whatever, but it's like generally because we're so word of mouth, the word of mouth is like, if the word of mouth is bad,
especially
that's
about
not good.
Your attitude too.
Yeah.
And if you can shut up, you know, like you have to sit on set for 12 to 15 hours sometimes. If you never stop talking, you know, like, and they have to constantly be like, shh, you know what I mean? Just
you could be,
you know, like
fucking quiet as a church mouse, but when the coordinator turns around and goes, "Yo, where's Paul? I need help with this, moving this pad." And Paul's like, "Right here."
Right.
You're right there to do it.
Yep.
That's
you're
what
just
they remember.
Easy.
Yeah.
You work hard. You're accessible. You're on time.
It's my favorite compliment to get.
It is.
It's true though.
Did you get, when you were doubling well, no, I guess it is a small production, but a really great compliment is like when people don't know that you're the double. Like if you're performing and they think you're the actor.
Yeah, I get that. I actually got that on another movie a lot that I worked with Manny Severio on that never came out. But that's a different, you know, that happens too. But
it happens a lot. Yeah.
That has a lot of cool.
Sometimes there are movies that you think will never come out and they do come out.
I'm praying.
A lot of times,
like years later,
you do it with an actor, and then what happens is they shelf the movie, but then the actor comes out and gets nominated for something, so they pull all that shit off the shelf that was crap, because now people will watch it and maybe it wasn't crap, but it was crap.
I mean, there's also just like so much media nowadays that it's just an overconsumption of like what you can watch. I feel that way. Like it's there are too many options at this point.
I find myself watching old stuff more now than I just watching new stuff, because half the time it's so hard for me to get into. I was so happy that the Jackal was so good.
Oh, Day of the Jackal.
Wow, that is a great series. You got to check that out.
I have not watched. Well, you know, you already know when you ask me something
really
I've
good.
never watched.
But it's
not like that stupid Bruce Willis Richard Gere remake. That was total shit.
Yeah, but it was.
But this one's really.
But it was like that movie was huge because Bruce Willis like kissed a guy.
Yeah, but
and it made it was the talk of the movie was that Bruce Willis Bruce Willis kissed a guy.
Okay.
And that was the only thing I remember about the promotion in that movie was that.
Because like the rest of the movie was shit.
It was pretty fucking bad.
It was really bad. Go back and watch the original 1971, 73 version. So good.
If there's 2 Bruce Willis movies you need to watch back to back, it has to be The Jackal and then immediately watch Hudson Hawk.
No pause.
Yeah. One right to the next. Oh my God.
And you will just been like, wow. Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Kristen, what's in the future? What's going on? Tell us. Anything planned?
I actually just bought my harness.
Oh,
like
nice.
Nice.
Cool
That was
stunt
that was
thing.
actually one of the questions I was going to ask you. When you get your gymnastics training, transferring to getting pulled in the air on the harness.
That's super comfortable for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I hate
however,
it.
Sometimes I am not ready for the bruises that come with that training. It's not easy.
No, but your air awareness is
Yeah, I have
already there.
I'm super comfortable in the air. It's definitely I like relying
What kind of harness
on
did you get? The full stunt with leg cuffs and the jerk vest, or just like a Hong Kong
jerk vest.
Yeah.
Did you do
The sail.
the what is it? The neoprene one, or did you do like the really
You mean the
expensive one?
nylon?
Nylon one. Sorry.
Nylon or the I'm brain farting on the like.
I don't know. It was on.
I'm like, did you do the desert colored one or the black one?
Desert colored.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I figured like doubling.
They have an
ours-
ultralight. It's like I want to say I'm forgetting the name of it, but
I
it's
was talking to.
What do you mind if I mean it's on the website, but what did it cost with the sale?
you got climbing suture.
It was under
right?
$5.
Because they're having
Under 500. Yeah.
they're having a sale on the
Yeah.
Is the sale still on? I gotta get my phone. I'll be right back, man.
yeah climbing suture is
Zach
having
Branch texted me and he was like,
Yeah.
"It's time. It's time to buy them."
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet. Then I should
It's on
grab
sale.
one.
He was just on. He's just on a show. He was just on
Blue Bloods.
Blue Bloods. Yeah.
That was really
last week.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, that was a big scene.
Oh, and you know who else was on FBI? Do you remember Ian O'Boyle, my
What?
friend's son, who worked with us on Rewind?
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just on last week's episode of FBI, getting like tortured and beaten. And
Oh,
Nice.
Yay.
and my stairfall was on last night's Blue Bloods.
Yeah.
the one that I talked about several episodes
Oh,
ago.
you have to send me.
Yeah,
I haven't watched Blue Bloods in years.
this is the first time I ever watched it.
I didn't know it was.
It was
still
actually
on.
pretty good. I was like, oh, maybe I should have been.
I watched like
watching
the
this show.
first 5 or 6 seasons of Blue Bloods. I actually really liked it.
Okay.
And then
I'm a
Tom
Law and Order
Selleck, come on.
person.
yeah, Tom Selleck's awesome.
Like-
But it turned. I was just like, okay. I was like, this. How much shit can happen in one
I
fucking
still watch
family?
SVU, so
Yeah.
Like,
I'm a loyalist with that.
well, I'm just more like the story of the family is so ridiculous at this point. Like, I
Okay.
just can't watch the show.
No, but you know what? The stunts are great.
The stunts are great.
Roy Farfel does an amazing job.
Okay.
And well, the show's over. Did an amazing job,
Oh, well,
but it was like 14 seasons.
Mhm.
wow. Yeah, that's
Crazy.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, in my future, I'd hope to be working. You know,
Yes.
as we all, as we'd all hope
I hope to be alive when
Um,
this podcast airs in March.
for. Yes.
Any goals? Anything you would like to like make sure that you knock out? You know, now that we're coming into
Naturally,
this
I
next
wanted
year,
to
you're like, I
immediately-
want to work on this. I want to do.
Immediately, I just want to be like, no.
No, she wants to use her fucking harness.
Right.
Yes,
I want to use
yes.
my. There you go. That's a great.
There you
Well,
go.
I want to.
All you coordinators that listen to this show, all 2 of you,
All 2 of you.
Kristen got a new harness and wants to use it.
I'm like James and Larry.
I want to just. You know, I don't do that. I don't do the like, oh, I want to do like X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, because I think that's, then you get disappointed when it doesn't happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
But I just want to, you know,
Work.
like be safe, work, yeah, have nothing happen in the years come, like these random catastrophic events.
Yeah.
But just work hard.
Can we
and,
stop living in unprecedented times,
yeah,
please?
yeah.
Right.
That'd be nice.
Work hard and earn the work.
Yes.
you know?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Good
You were
seeing you.
nervous.
I was, yeah.
First podcast.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh,
Yay.
You'll come back next time you have another big job.
Right. You'll be telling us what we're doing wrong on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
that's never happened.
All right. Thank you for everybody for listening
Yes.
to Film Fights with Friends. And we will see you
Next time.
next one. We only have 2 more. We only have 2 more episodes.
2 more episodes left in the season.
Done. Season 1 is done.
Done. 26 flipping episodes.
Then we'll decide if we want to do this shit again.
Holy crap.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Fights with Friends is brought to you by Breakfall Studios and Press Record Studios. Executive producers Stephen Kepfer, Paul Veracci, and Tiago Benedetti. Produced by Matthew Kaplowitz. Associate producers Becca G.T. and Jared DeCroce. Our video editor is Matthew Kaplowitz. Original music by Aru Luster.